Hello, everyone, and it's Sean, and welcome to another broadcast of the Leftovers, a ARPG, basically ad hoc talk show. Tonight we are joined by our guests, No Quest for the Wicked. Um, we have Dane and I want to Nature said it now. Is that right?
Nile,
No.
Nile.
like
Okay,
like the river.
okay, like Nile. Oh, cool. I also want to applaud Nathan, who's somehow got mute. He's unmuted. Nathan's first time joining us. He just snuck in while we were doing the intros. Hi, Nathan.
Yeah, I was allowed. Yeah, thank you.
You were allowed. Blessings upon you, sir. But anyway, we
You're
have a
allowed to
full
play
house.
with your friends tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's it going?
Hey, and
Hey.
once again, our number one fan, Darcy. Hey, Darcy, how are you doing? So, anyway, so we're going to get into it in a second. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I always do this briefly. I turn it over to Matt for announcements, so I'm going to get that out of the way. Matt, are you
It's
ready?
the most exciting part of the night.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey.
yes.
So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. So of course today we've got our special guests, No Quest for the Wicked, and then next week we are taking. I can't talk right now anyway. But, next week we're taking a break for Halloween, and for November, who knows, right? The show, anything goes. There are some folks out there, maybe there's an instant message, a DM, a BM, something like that is headed your way. So who knows who we're going to see here in November. That's all I've got. Thanks, Sean.
That's it, really. I didn't even get to
sure.
use. I didn't get to use the banner, which is
That's right.
please, Matt, stop.
You guys have that on speed dial for just about everything.
Where's
All right,
the
so-
PowerPoint?
It's the thing that comes most in handy.
So yes, it does. So please, the ARPGS.com cast to check us out, like, follow, subscribe, and for our guests, No Quest for the Wicked,
Or a banner.
www.noquestcast.com to check them out. They got a really cool website with pretty retro neon colors. I like it. Anyway, with that being said, we have you also are one of our number one fans here, which is your number one fans, which is Tier. So I'm gonna let Tier take it away.
Oh, hey, thanks for putting me on the spot with absolutely no idea that was
Oh,
going to
I
happen.
always do that. I'm not gonna do it to Nathan. We do enough to him,
All right.
so I'm gonna do
All
it
right.
to Tier.
Well, guys, we came to talk about a couple of things you guys got going on, you got coming up. I know that one of the big things is the time we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, just released. Is that a release on the Patreon or is
So
that
Tier,
release
you
on the
want to
regular?
go softball, right? You're going to start with the easy content first.
Oh no,
The
no.
jovial,
Next-
happy.
The next question is, which hockey team do you support?
You're asking
Alright.
the wrong guys.
That's-
I mean, I feel legally I have to support the Maple Leafs because
Yeah,
we're Toronto based, but
That's
You know,
I'm not-
You guys
I'm
sports
New York-
ball people too?
the New
I've-
York Yankees of Canadian hockey. It's,
yes.
Yeah, I don't know much about hockey, so I gotta also say the Leaves, I guess. But I'm not from Canada, so I get a pass.
you can say whatever you want, man.
we were joking before we got on that my whole life during this season is all children's hockey, and this podcast.
Fair.
We're shocked that Tier has teeth still because he's like the goalie of the house.
I do get checked going to the kitchen.
They're gonna be
Luckily
bigger
enough,
than
I
you
am still
soon.
I am still bigger than the kids technically. So
For now.
I give it like another year maybe.
And my
Then you
kids-
can
Anyway.
start picking back though.
Then you won't have any teeth.
Yeah.
And if they ever get to my size, then you're really in trouble.
oh yeah, you're screwed.
So yeah, tell us about the new release. Tell us about what you got coming up. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we just recorded a one shot of The Time We Have, which for those that don't know is an upcoming game in I think October 29th. The funding goes live for, but it's a really interesting game because it's a 2-player like TTRPG, or I guess it's still a TTRPG, even though I guess you're not playing on a table because you're on either sides of a door, but that's semantics. Where effectively you live out the last few hours or days of a loved one who has become infected with some kind of zombie virus. So one person plays the infected, one person plays the survivor, and you draw.
So upbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very sad. I believe the website is like sadzombie.game.com.
Yeah.
So that
Oh, I
You
gotta
can pull
look
it
that
off.
up.
It's your crew because you guys really put emotion into your shows. Like I felt feels listening to season 1, and
thank
from
you.
then on. So I'm excited by this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it
Dane,
was.
Dane and Ryan were the ones who did it, so I'll throw
Yeah,
it over to you.
we when we finished, like we went into it, we kind of like really set the parameters because we knew how heavy it was probably going to get, just from the stuff that people have talked about, and we purposely didn't look through the cards. So the way it works is, unlike most CTRPGs where you're rolling dice and stuff, you actually have 2 decks, and one is for the survivor and one is for the infected. And you take turns pulling cards out of the deck, and they have prompts on them, and that kind of like guides the conversation because the whole game really is just a two-handed like scene, really. And you'll pull a card that's like, we did something recently that was badass. What was it? We did something wrong, but why did it feel right or whatever, right? And so it's like these challenging questions that you end up posing back and forth. Some of them are like non auditory or sort of like auditory prompts, so you slide them under the door to the other player. So like one is like you hear the other person pacing, or you hear someone, or you hear them singing a song or whatever. So you end up having this like give and take of a conversation that just kind of happens between you guys based on these 2 things. And as Nell said, in between, every now and then you'll pull a card that like furthers your infection, and that gives you a new prompt. So for example, like one of them is I think you're quicker to anger after a certain amount of time. So like now you not only are you getting these random prompts, but now you have a modifier almost to how you should react to said prompt. We were playing through Roll20, so Ryan and I could see each other's cards as we pulled them. But I think there's a layer of, if you're playing it between the door or not looking at each other's cards, I think there's actually an added element of you don't really know why all of a sudden your brother or whoever you're playing as is getting angrier, right? Because you don't know that they just pulled that card where their infection has increased. So there's a whole mishmash of stuff that's going on, and it's a really, really unique game, and so it's a really great opportunity to play with someone that you trust and make something unexpectedly beautiful and heartbreaking.
That's pretty
Yeah,
malleable as well. Sorry, just really quickly, because I know we modified it a little bit to set it in season 1 of our campaign, just to kind of like tie it in for the fans. But the game is built in that way, so that like it's not always the same apocalypse and always the same virus. And I think there are about 6 like door cards, which are like scene setters for which kind of like outbreak you're playing through. So there's one that seems pretty like Last of Us-y. I don't know what the rest of them are, but I do know there is a joke one where there's a goose virus turning people into geese that I think you get if you back on day 1. And I just really want to see.
Horrifying of them all, right? There.
Yeah, I want to see someone play that like fully, like straight faced with the gravitas and emotion and fear that went through Dane's playthrough, but with like honking sound effects in the distance.
It's like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas.
Yes.
Right? Like
it could be.
You play it like a serious heart attack, but you're just surrounded by geese. I love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I'm excited. There's a few other actual plays coming out over the next couple of days, and it was cool. It was really great to be a part of that.
That's amazing.
No,
you guys have a really good tie-in with these upcoming games that haven't been released and promoting them. Eldritch Automata, I absolutely adored that. I backed it instantly after the first episode, just because I loved your playthrough so much.
Thank you.
Can't wait to
talk about that. Talk about that for a second here, or you can let the people create it talk about it. It's up to you.
Sure. Hey, look, I'm fanboying pretty hard. Okay, all right.
Hey,
So,
we love it, so thank you. We were like talking to Gehenna, and they had the game coming up, and basically like wanted us to do a thing for them, and it was awesome. Like great people to work with, lovely people. We met some of the team at PAX and did some karaoke, so that was incredible. Gen Con, mixing them up. So that was awesome, and just the game itself, like from listening, but like the system is so fucking cool. I'm so excited to get the actual physical book in my hands, especially now that over the course of the like backing campaign, they unlocked one more mech and one more like pilot archetype. So I'm really excited about that. But it's just a super fun game because, like, being in a mech is such a power fantasy, but being in a horror game, you can't. It's hard to feel scared when you're powerful. So, like, the tightrope of trying to give you that mech power fantasy while also making you fear is like they did it so well, you
Yeah.
know. And like you would oscillate really quickly while playing to being like, oh, I'm a fucking badass. I'm invincible. I've got guns for arms. And then being like, oh shit, I'm going to absolutely die.
Yeah, and the fact that nothing is going to be the same because you can customize out your loadouts, your character traits, your skills, and it makes a completely new playthrough.
Yo, for sure. Like the weapon building, like I gushed about that in our session 0 because I love it so much. It's just like a really fun, like you can literally build whatever weapon you have, and it's just you depending on the tier of weapon, you just need to hit a certain number. And between the pluses you get from more powerful things and the minuses you get from like, drawbacks, like things that make it more unstable or dangerous to you, to kind of reach that flavor you want. So it is really a game of like give and take and like kind of putting yourself in that danger. And I love it.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
go ahead, Nathan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's character creation like that? Because I know it's a
Yes.
year 0 engine game, so we
Yeah.
played a ton of those games. So character creation for non-mech games is pretty straightforward. There's only just a few stats and a few skills. But what's the kind of? There's got to be an extra layer to it to build out the weapons and build out the mech. Well, what's that like?
There's not actually that much to it.
Yeah,
pretty simple.
it's pretty straightforward. Like the thing that I love about it is we got sort of the like pre-release manuscript of the rule set, and I think we were able to get our hands on it and digest it and know the rules. I think there was a few point in time where we had to sort of like, are we doing this right?
Yeah. There were like,
but-
but with very specific issues.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. It was like, sort of a perfect storm of different mechanics that we didn't have a clear ruling on. But other than that, I think it's a really digestible and a real easy system to get your brain around. But like character creation is just a matter of like you choose your pilot archetype, you choose a skill. You choose a mech archetype, you choose a skill, and then like the real meat, as Niall said, is like sort of building these weapons. But again, it's a ton of customizable sort of parts. But again, a real simple solution of being like, okay, my weapon needs to have 7 points, and so I can take one ability that has 3, one ability that has 4, and then a drawback that has whatever to like keep
To balance
moving
it out.
around and like changing the balance. And
So you talk.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. So you talk about this, building this, like I feel like a tech game. You're building armor and you're super powerful. But I haven't played this game. Then and Niall talked about the horror side of it. What is the horror side? Give a little more detail on that. Like you said, there's a horror side, like you can get killed. But how does that come out? Like
So-
I'm in my mech and I'm all jacked up and I'm slaying everybody, and then somehow it goes south.
So the cool thing is, even though the automata, like the robots that you're in, are so powerful, they kind of like feed off you. So a lot of the time,
Okay.
you doing like abilities will like cost either like stability or ego, and as those things whittle away, it's almost like sanity points in.
I got you.
Yeah. So you start to erode even if you're having successes, almost more so if you're having successes, So there's like a stress mechanic, you lose ego, you lose stability. And the really fun thing is your mech and your pilot both have 2 breaking points, kind of like in Delta
Okay.
Green, where if you hit a breaking point on your mech, you either roll on this damage table and like a significant portion of that damage table is death. Some of it's like losing an arm, losing a leg, damaging a thruster. Like you can get lucky, but you could also just roll. Oh, I rolled a 90. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a piece of shrapnel just punctures your heart and you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Great, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Go
but
ahead,
yeah,
Nathan.
really quickly, when you hit that threshold, you can choose instead to berserk, and your robot has this like berserk mode, but it often harms your allies or has a downside and
Okay.
a plus and a negative.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty wild. The 2 breaking points and the basically, yeah, I could see where that would be. That's entertaining.
I
That just-
see. I know you guys talked about it, but I heard it. I heard it as limit break. I hit my limit break. There's my
Yeah.
there's my old Final Fantasy VII. Oh, my limit break is coming.
yeah. And
It was so
you had
exciting when
something?
that happened.
I'm sorry, Nathan, you had something.
Yeah, so well, just from the description, it sounds like how it is in Alien, where you have, when you break, you roll in the critical table, and if you roll, as Sean knows, you roll a
Oh,
66, your story ends here.
Yeah.
And
Yes, I do know that.
And there's of course the panic table also,
Yep.
which has some really cool stuff in it. But yeah, so yeah, if you break your mech or break your human, then
I like that. Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. In a lot of the Year Zero games, they have stuff like that.
Well, there's a joy for that type of game, right? I think we all agree there's a joy for that type of game, and that's different from the long-term fantasy game where you have a lot of, let's say, benchmarks you have to hit before you're actually dead.
And
Yeah.
crunchier
Right.
games like Starfinders, I kind of knew you as the Starfinder guys, and going from a super crunchy game like Starfinder and then going to these super rules light card 2-person games
Yeah.
and Year
That you can
Zero
die.
engine games. What's it like in playing Orbital Blues with you guys up
was
in
a lot of
Canada?
fun.
That was awesome, by the way.
You gotta come back.
Yeah, I promise I will. So what's it like, kind of switching from a super crunchy game like Starfinder and then going to all these other games where the rules are completely different from what you've been doing for a long time?
The nice thing is like we do that in our home games. We are pretty sort of like, despite the fact that like we have 2 long running games. Like we have our Starfinder like show on the podcast, and then we've been playing a Pathfinder 1E for like 9 years now.
That's
we
long.
just finished our second full like adventure path this Monday. But then alternatively, thank you. We also, like, if someone can't make it that day, like I'll run a Blades in the Dark, or now we'll run a Morkborg or a Delta Green or an Orbital Blues, and it's just kind of like we have sort of like a bunch of games in our pockets, and like over the past, I would say probably PAX last year, we've just been amassing games that we want to play. Like I've got a
that sounds
stack of,
familiar.
yeah, it's like I've got a stack of books on my desk right now of games that I'm dying to play.
Yeah, I bought like 4 this week, and I shouldn't. I don't have the money for it, but
Yeah.
Or it's a time, right? He's like, we have, that's our discussions in our group, right? It's like we're on our longest game right now. We've never played a game that's been out the same time we've been playing it. And I swear to God, that's true. We've been playing Dragonbane, now it's out, and we're still playing it. We're like, God, we got to wrap this up. We've been playing this for like 40 some episodes, and so we're going to be coming up on a year and the same game. So that is interesting. I get it. I got a quick question.
We have issues with game commitment.
Now, apparently we don't right now. I think
Yeah.
you've been cured.
but
That's because Matt was out.
yeah, it's because that's Matt's fault. That's all Matt's fault. That's our saying. So I got a question. You guys, you've been doing this, your podcast. How long you guys been broadcasting as a
It
team?
will be 3 years in January.
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys, how long before that were you guys together playing?
Oh, a long time.
Like 2015, I think, is when we first picked up Pathfinder.
That's a long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so long.
It's so long. God, we feel ancient. Anyway, so I got a question for you. So what made you guys, we know why, we've had this discussion with other guests. What made you decide, hey, we're doing this. Let's put it out in the world and see what happens. What made you guys decide that?
I think it was like I had come up with the rough idea for season 1 of No Quest before COVID.
Yeah, at least a year or 2, if not 3, before we recorded.
Yeah,
it.
before we started going.
And even like when we came, like me and Dan have been podcasting with our other podcast for the last 6 years. So when we initially came together and wanted to do a podcast, we had floated the idea of doing an actual play, but at that point it just seemed so daunting because we didn't know anything, and like getting more people,
Yeah.
like editing, putting music, like the whole thing it's a pretty in-depth medium, whereas like what we do, which is a sex and dating advice podcast, just the 2 of us, we don't need to put music to it. We
that's
don't
right,
need
that's right.
guests. We don't need to learn new systems. So yeah, fuck buddies. So that's what we started with. But I think as much as we love doing that and it's very fun, there's just like a level of creativity and fun in this that like we were both kind of like yearning for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Niall and I are also both artists in different mediums as well. Niall's a writer. He's a novelist. Yep, there it is, right there.
Oh wow!
Or
Yeah, didn't
one
know
of
that.
them.
That's great. That's awesome.
And I went to school for acting. I ended up making my own production company. I did short films and stuff for a long time.
There were like in festivals in New York and stuff. Like Dane killed
Oh,
it.
okay.
And then it just got to the point where like the stories I wanted to tell didn't match the budgets that I had, but with actual play and podcasting, it really is like I think the thing that like where I fell in love with it, and I love playing RPGs. Like I'll play them forever and always with anyone, whenever I get the chance to. But I think when we sat down and we started doing the show, I think it's like episode 3 or 4. There is a high speed chase on a lightway highway with like flying cars and stuff, and like that's something I could never do in a short film, at least not like in a way that would look good with the budget that I had. So being able to like tell this story now, it's like it really is just as long as I can describe it well enough, it's the audience fills in the blanks in their own head, and now it's like the possibilities of storytelling is kind of limitless as long as you are willing to invest the energy in telling that story as accurately as they can to your audience. And it's just like at that point in time, I was like, hell yeah, like we can do whatever we want at this point.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that's one of the draw. I mean, we started like as our friends. We started as friends a long time ago, and for us it was really Matt. Oh God, you made a banner, Nathan. But the Matt and Nathan had been beating it, and they drew us into it. Now Nathan thankfully had some school.
Phrasing, Sean.
No, I'm going to say beating into it.
Yeah.
But glory hole in our way. No, just saying. But Matt and Nathan, they sort of reached out to us, and that's how we started. And Nathan thankfully had some tech experience because, I mean,
You learn a lot.
The rest of
shit
us don't.
You guys,
yeah, rest of us don't. Like SteamYard was a major step for me and Matt. It was just like, hey, you want to do this talking thing? I found something. I'm like, yes. But I agree with you 100%. And it is a great medium to get your story out and come up with things because, if you've heard our friend Malcolm talk, I always speak ad nauseam about his eloquence and his background, how he speaks, and and Tony Cooper, who he's on, he's similar to you, Dane. He actually he's done a lot of media and he's done small films and he's done stuff like that. And I think this is a natural environment.
Emmy nominated producer.
Emmy nominated producer. Yes. Don't give him too much credit too. Anyway,
International award winning Tony Kupo.
Oh God! Please.
Speaking
He's going to
of
show
awards, you guys have a string of nominations and awards, right?
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Because I don't know if folks know your Starfinder game is homebrew, right?
Yep. 100%.
Your creation. It's not an adventure path. It's not something you're going to find at the Paizo store. This is a unique setting, and I think, So maybe,
yeah.
I know we weren't. Yeah, just maybe tell us a little bit about that, since that is your flagship story.
Yeah,
a little bit about that setting and how you came about to it, and then I just want to follow on. I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I saw you guys have a one-shot Starfinder.
Yes,
and I know you guys have done some testing on the background. I was going to listen to it because I needed a palate cleanser after the time we had.
Hey, it is. I actually recommend it as sort of like listen to the time we have and then listen to Disorientation Day, because Disorientation Day is
the complete
John
opposite.
Hughes. Yeah, it's very light. It's very fun. We were very lucky.
Starfinder 2?
No, that's just Starfinder 1. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys have had and I guess a follow on if you talk about is have you guys kicked any tires with Starfinder 2? So that would be.
Yeah, actually, that's why we were in PAX last year. We were doing Starfinder Enhanced.
Yeah, we helped Paizo launch Starfinder Enhanced we did a live show with them, but then right after
Very
that, we
good.
went and got involved in the playtest of 2E. So we played there, and then we did the world, or one of the first premieres of Starfinder 2E on podcast form. So we teamed up with the Atomless and Paizo, and we had a 2-shot.
Yeah.
I listened to that one. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We haven't really delved into it too much. It's funny because we have a copy of the playtest and the first adventure that we're giving away right now, and it's like I kind of want to not give it away and play it, but we got to do it. I don't know. It's a nice book though.
It's tough every time. Like we do a thing. Like we recently did the Cobalt Creates with Tales of the Valiant as well, and they're sending us their like really fancy like rule book thing, and
Yeah.
like we saw it at Gen Con, and we were like, damn it, why do we have to get this away? Like it's such a nice, like it's I will gush about the Tales of the Valiant like book. In terms of layout, it's one of the best laid out rule book I've ever touched in my life. It's so easy to like get where you need to go. It all makes sense. It flows perfectly. But the like special
Cool
edition
art.
like hardcover
It's beautiful.
thing,
I want it
it's
on my
so
shelf,
nice.
and
yeah.
it sucks that I have to give it away.
So so that's a 5e OGL spinoff, right?
Yeah,
Correct,
pretty
yes.
much.
Yeah, it is their sort of like third party, first party D&D 5e sort of thing.
It's like 3 steps removed almost to where you're
Yeah.
describing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
fair, like I feel like it's people who've played so much of 5e that like
Yeah.
they know enough to like add stuff to it to make it really fun. Like it was a
gotcha.
fun system, and it feels like a good, because they've been making third party stuff for forever, and like they know how to add to a system, and like we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, you can
Good,
tell
good.
that the forefront was gamers making something fun for gamers as
Yeah.
opposed to a mega corporation trying to make as much money as possible. Like
Yeah, that's-
it is very, very clear, like the two
Yeah.
differences of who's making what.
Yeah, you see that now. It's strange, right? You never thought you'd see that in this type of genre with role playing,
Yeah.
TTRPG. Now you see it with one system we won't get into, and it just sort of like surprised me, and I'm going, which it just pushes lots of us. You guys are great. It's so weird into more of the I'd say independent game systems,
100%.
more homebrew. In your case, homebrew,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's a very interesting take you got there.
Yeah, so let's get back into your Starfinder homebrew, and let's your setting that you developed and the game, the characters, all that good stuff.
So we play in a homebrew setting called Casamal, which is the nice thing about Starfinder is we can set it sort of like in the world of the Paizoverse, but because you can be anywhere in space, we're like, okay, cool, we're going to carve out our own little galaxy, our own little solar system, and that'll be our thing. So it's kind of a hybrid of in-universe lore, but there are some twists. So, for example, in Starfinder, there's a thing called the Gap, which is sort of their way of bridging narratively Pathfinder and Starfinder. And there's just no sort of recollection of like how we discovered space travel. It just kind of like everyone just kind of like knows it exists, but no one remembers how it was made or who made it or whatever. And that's just kind of like their sort of like narrative thing. And like there are people who study what happened at the Gap, and there are people looking for proof of what happened during the Gap.
Also,
in ours,
when we were
sorry, go ahead.
talking to one of the creators of Starfinder, they were saying just like the very simple fact of setting a game in the future means that technically there are history books or people or things that remember, what happened in previous adventure paths back in the Pathfinder universe. And they're like, we don't want to have to deal with that or deal with like giving definite answers for things because that takes away the fun of like people's campaigns in the past. So they're like, it's an easy way. We put the Gap in. It's like, we don't know. Who knows how this ended? It's up to you. Play it through.
So in our campaign, the Gap never happened, and Earth exists. Like our world exists, specifically because Niall's character really wanted to be a like 80s inspired sort of robot android, and I was like, it's gonna suck if all of the references we're making are
Don't
fake.
exist.
Yeah, it's like you can't really have like an 80s inspired person where the 80s didn't happen. So we were like, Earth does need to exist. So there's a bit of there is some like social commentary about like, how we've treated the Earth and sort of like, what we can do as a society when we get a chance to start over. One of my favorite planets is a place called Second Earth, which is there's sort of two bastions of humanity. There's the cube, which is all the ships that kind of like merge together, and we're just like, great, we're a place now, and we're humanity's like beacon. And then there's a lot of people who are like, we didn't do anything wrong. We're Second Earth, here we go. And it's like all the scumbag corporations, all the swindlers, all the cheaters, all the liars, and it's essentially just like a big casino, like asteroid of people who are like, no, we don't want to be good. We don't want to take responsibility. We're doing it again. And just sort of like that, there's like a divide of humanity of being like, oh, here are the people who are trying to rectify our mistakes. These are the people who are happy with their lot in life. But I kept the system and the setting very light and let sort of I wanted the players to define a lot of the lore. So really, like when I was making the setting, it was just like, this is the forest planet. It's got a big giant tree and it's split right down the middle, and half the planet is lush forest, half the planet is wasteland, and we'll figure that out when we get there. And like, because I didn't want to.
Okay.
I don't think it's fun when you're like, it's kind of sandboxy, but I've already built all the sandcastles and you don't have any buckets or shovels or tools.
Don't you fucking touch my castle.
Right? So it's like, I want to give you sort of like a rough shape and then be like, go play.
No, I like that. I mean, that Nathan's one of the chaos GMs. He likes to see us run wild sometimes. And then we have other people who likes everything structured. But anyway.
Yeah, until you beat that out of them.
Yeah, they beat it out of you, man.
We did. We bludgeoned Matt into a game where we shaped part of the world.
Yeah, we did do that.
It's a painful process.
Matt, you had to grow. You had to grow. We had to make you grow.
You know, what's funny is that game for me is probably one of my favorites, but our least listened to.
Funny how that happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Well, the game system is not interesting. Is that what that is? You know, so there's 1,000 of that system.
Yeah, we had the joy of releasing the second season of Sex, Drugs, and Saving Throws the same week that the OGL scandal hit.
Oh yeah, fucking goddamn! We love the characters
So-
too.
What
We love the
what are you gonna
characters.
do?
So we're switching game systems. We're moving over that.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I heard
Nathan,
go ahead, Nathan.
go ahead.
No, Terry, go ahead.
I mean, there's another game that you guys have recently played that you might want to talk about that was written by somebody special. Lair of the Vampire King.
Oh yeah. That was a lot
He was
of fun.
geeking out, man. Look at him. Go ahead.
So it was actually the first time I've DM'd for the podcast, although it is
Oh.
vaguely paywalled because it's on our Patreon. But the first episode is free for everybody. So you just got to join the free
First
tier.
hit's free.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We're hoping you like the first one.
I've already
Just
joined.
take one hit of my episode. You'll want more. Yes, go.
So yeah, it's like we wanted to do more like Patreon stuff, and I fucking love Morkborg, and we were just kind of thinking like what'll be fun, dirty, quick. And when I found out what Lair of the Vampire King is, which is it's a like super brutal, deadly dungeon crawl in the Morkborg system that is written by Johan Nohr, who's the artist and creator of Morkborg, and his 5-year-old son. So his 5-year-old son created the whole thing, drew it all, and then he just like turned it into legible game mechanics and art. And like I have it right here actually. It's just so fun. Like that's the villain.
That's
And,
an
like,
awesome villain.
Not only is it a very fun thing, but like at the back you get to see all the
Oh,
drawings.
original. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
perfect.
It was a lot of fun. I didn't tell the boys it was a dungeon built by a 5-year-old, and knowing it was so brutal as Morkborg is, we had a pretty fun mechanic where the rules were like the Vampire King had this, only 2 people could enter at once, which explained why only 2 of them were on this adventure. But they had a cluster of like adventurers waiting outside the barrier, so if one of them died, another one could enter.
Could they slap in like a wrestling match, like tag in like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yes.
god! That's
Yeah, at one
hilarious.
point, one of Ryan's character falls down a hole, and we just couldn't figure out how to get him out. So he's just like, okay, we just left him in a hole.
It's actually
That's
funny.
awesome.
Usually when because like a thing we do when we're playing our main campaign is we do like a 10-minute like talk about it afterwards. I kind of wish we'd done one for that because there were a lot of things you guys missed. My favorite is if you try to enter the house through the chimney up top, you just get turned into lava, just instantly dead.
That sounds like a 5-year-old.
Just,
Exactly,
There's a
that's-
lot of lava.
That's what
amazing.
there's so much fucking lava in this thing.
This kid
great.
figured out what a volcano is like
so
2
great.
days before, and he was just like, "Lava kicks ass."
A lot
It
of
does,
mouse traps
apparently.
and lava. It was great.
Yeah.
I see what's in our next game system. Lava.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I had fun. The guys got to like on the fly just be handed a brand new character and have to come up with a story for them,
yeah.
and it was very fun.
That is fun. You know,
Morkborg is a pretty dark system. I don't know. Our humor can go a little dark, but I ran Morkborg a year or two ago, and it was the first time we've actually had a couple of our players go, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Well, you are,
the
because we're
game-
playing Pirate Borg at Geek Weekend.
yes.
Right,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
So-
And I'm embracing it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go all dark, man. I'm
I
just
think
going
that's
right
what
down
you
the
gotta
hole.
do with Morkborg, but like I find that the system is so dark that I feel like it's so easy to go silly. Like it,
Yeah.
I feel like that's my natural transition into like this is so grim that we've like swung back around into almost like dark humor, like what we do in the shadows.
Yeah,
Yes,
almost like
that's what I was
Monty
thinking.
Python-esque
I
because
think that's the
Yeah,
default.
Python.
I think the you can't have the super darkness without the humor. So I think that was totally intentional. You can see that with some of the random tables in
100%.
there too.
even just like Barbarister, the fucking incredible horse, is one of the things you can get, which is an intelligent talking horse that may not help you. You know what I mean? That's fucking wonderful, but that's not grimdark. That's the
That sounds
silliest thing I've
familiar.
ever heard. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And like
Well, you know.
I fucking love Morkborg so much. I just picked up Cyborg and I just backed the new Pirate Borg like Kickstarter. Actually, I saw your guys' interview with your
good.
man talking because Graves Left Wanting is one of my favorite Morkborg adventures. Even though I haven't gotten to run it yet, it just sounds really cool. So when he said that one of the new ones was kind of like that, but for Pirate Borg,
Pork in the void. Yeah, that's Nathan.
okay,
He's been holding on to that.
There's the one that where you start dead.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Nathan's
believe
been
that-
holding on to that book, man.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
really
another
excited.
Mork spinoff, so you gotta try it. Pork in the Void.
hell yeah,
Your pigs in space.
love that.
Pigs in
Pigs in
space.
space.
Yeah, there's so many like Morkborg spin-offs. I really want to get half of them, but I just picked up Cyborg like 3 days ago. Very excited to run that.
Oh, that's one of the things you couldn't pay for. Yes, of course. Yes, as you said. Yes, but well, you know, it's there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting to get the games and play them. I mean, eventually you will. Look at it that way. Eventually, you guys will get to it. Like we're trying. Eventually, we'll get done Dragonbane and play something else.
The
I don't
good
know
thing
what
is
that
like
is.
when like when you get a new book and you read it and you're like, I gotta fucking run this. Usually I can convince Dane very quickly. Like I'll be like, hey, tomorrow, and he's like,
Yeah. If I've got the time, I'm gonna play. You could pitch any system to me except for the system that shall not be named.
Yeah.
and I will play.
System that shall not be made.
I will play anything. Like I don't care how dumb. I don't care how like lame it sounds. I will play everything at least once because like chances are I'm gonna have a fucking blast because it's just a way. It's just a way to spend time with
It's
your
also
friends.
a lot of it is what you make of it. So it's like,
No, you're
I'll
right.
make the shit system good. It's fine.
Yeah, you can listen. It's a group and your mentality going into it, right? Whole. Oh my
boy.
God, whole. What a
Human occupied landfill.
Land-
This,
Phil.
I'm lobbying for this for our Christmas episode.
Fuck, I'll
What
run
is
it.
it?
I don't care.
you
Human
can do live
occupied
with that.
landfill. So that game.
You
That-
guys
that's what
familiar with that?
Y-
You two
No.
familiar
all,
with? Okay,
all
here-
handwritten.
Yeah, just somebody describe it in detail.
Not only is it all handwritten, somewhere in I think one of the original printings,
Yes, there is.
there's a napkin from the waitress that they were when they were writing the book. Like she signed the napkin and said, "Put me in the book," and they just took the napkin and copied it into the book.
Hell yeah.
If
they
I
wrote it
remember
like
correctly.
in a diner or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It's set on a garbage world, like like the world from Thor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ragnarok.
yeah.
It's basically set on that kind of world. The NPCs, the characters are off the wall. Like there's one character who is the king. He's Elvis. He's
Yeah,
Elvis.
he's
He's
Elvis.
immortal. He lives on this planet. He's like a demigod.
They got a super pope or something weird like that, or some.
Yeah.
One of the most frightening NPC you could come across is I forget what her
A
name
kid.
is, like Tiffany or something. It's like this little 6-year-old girl with pigtails who is like just this terrifying engine of death. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those games you got to sit down. You know, you end up playing late into the night, drinking a lot of liquor, going, "Wow." You know, that's basically it.
That sounds
It's
great.
been
Perfect for a Christmas episode.
Yes, it is.
It's probably been 20 years since I read that book.
Damn.
Easily. So speaking of books and game systems, I have a game system that I have to develop a whole new set of friends with and get rid of these guys because they won't
Fuck
play
off.
it with me.
Which game?
Because none of them are Hellboy fans.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
See,
I'm a Hellboy fan. I play it. You're talking
Don't
about
sugarcoat it, Nathan.
Yeah, no,
It's fine. No, Hellboy's not for everybody.
Nathan's a
It's-
bit of a
I like-
gaming snob. Okay,
I like the comics so much. Like some of the stories were just so fantastic. They're so all over the place that I back the game, and it's a 5e based game.
Mhm.
So it's pretty simple, but it's not the world for everybody. Not everybody likes those books. So I'll just get new friends.
Yeah, I gotta
you
admit,
go.
I don't know anything about Hellboy, but
Yeah.
I will watch the movie, and
I've
you know,
seen
I'm up.
one of the movies.
I've definitely
like
seen
the
at least
idea.
one of them.
Yeah, don't watch the first one that was released with
Mickey
what's his
Rourke,
name?
right?
Ron Perlman.
no, not Ron Perlman.
Ron Pillman was the first one. Yes.
Yeah,
He did
a
the
really
two
good job.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Then
then
he got
what's
old.
his face? The guy from Stranger Things was the next one, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
forget things.
David Harbour.
The cop.
Played the sheriff.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
Yeah, not a bad movie. Not a bad movie. Just I liked the first one they put out.
So I want to circle back around just because, sort of this podcasting thing is kind of a journey, right? And there's like stages. I kind of think like there's like, recording. There's that first time you go live, right? Like this, but then there's also like live, and
In person.
We have not done live, but you guys have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have literally played to a live audience,
I'd
and
love to do that.
we got a chance. I got to see it for the first time at not you guys, unfortunately, but I got to see another big podcast group we perform at Gen Con. I was just fascinated. Could you tell us like what that's like? Because it's crazy to me, and I love this stuff. To think that people come, pay, drink beer, and watch people play D&D, but or any whatever. Sorry, don't
Wait, what?
say it 3 times.
What'd
Don't
you say?
it 3 times.
Put up the banner.
Okay, I'm kicking you off now.
Put up the banner.
But
Okay, I
one
just
check.
muted him, guys. No, just kidding.
so maybe just tell us like how you decided, what it was like, because it seems to be like both amazing and terrifying all at once.
Yeah, it is definitely. I don't know. Like me and Dane have both been like Dane is an actor. Like he's acted, so he's used to doing that stuff. I used to be in a band. I used to be in the debate team because I'm real cool. So being on stage, using my voice, that's fine. I know. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to boast.
I didn't know. Can I get your autograph later?
Yeah. I'm not that debater.
Checked all the boxes
Oh.
for giving sex advice, right?
Right? Not only did I play the game that has
He's
not,
a master
you know,
debater. Yes.
yeah. So like the being on stage part, not so bad, but like there's still an element of nerves. But like we basically for the other show, it was like we had been doing kind of an ongoing live show. And while that was going on, a local bar reached out and we're like, hey, fan of the podcast, would you guys come play here? It's like a sci-fi themed bar that's really cool. So we've played 2 gigs there. We've played Fan Expo, Comic-Con, PAX U, and it's a lot of fun. I think the danger or like the hard part is, much like playing at home isn't the same as playing on the podcast. Playing on the podcast isn't the same as playing live. So you really need to kind of like nail down what you're going for. So like when we performed at the bar in Toronto, there were only 2 players because one of our players on the East Coast. So we had to figure out like what system and what kind of like genre worked really well with just having like two PCs. So we did like a buddy cop kind of thing. So like The Mentalist or Lucifer, where one person we did Starfinder, but it was like one of the like cops in one of Dane's like established settings gets teamed up with a trickster, Faye, and just kind of like setting it that way. So I think that's kind of one of the big hurdles is just understanding the difference between like playing for the podcast and playing live because you really need to like keep people engaged. And also, if you want to fill a room, not everybody's going to be a TTRPG fan, so it needs to be digestible.
It's much more of a depending on where you're playing. Like when we played PAX U, like we knew everyone there is a TTRPG fan or a board game fan, or like they knew what they were getting into. When you're playing sort of a more amorphous audience, it's more of a comedy show with structure. It's kind of like an improv show where you're going and like you're playing for the audience. Like you're not necessarily playing to like hit strong narrative beats or emotional character moments or whatever. It's like no, you're playing to entertain the audience that's 2 feet away from you. Like that's the goal. And if you're doing that, then like who cares if your story goes the way you want it to, or like 9 times out of 10, I promise you, every live show you're gonna go see, the GM at about the 1 hour mark be like, we got to do something because you haven't done anything. We've just been
my gosh.
goofing.
That is so funny that you say that because the people we saw, and I won't mention who, are like top tier podcast, and they literally an hour in, the GM was like, "We haven't fucking gotten past this door."
I know
No,
exactly.
I-
I'm
I
pretty
know
sure we were in that
people
show
doing
with
it.
you.
We went to that show
okay,
as
you
well.
know
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so
it was a
yeah,
great
I was
show.
kind of like, I was like, oh my god, even they can't get shit together.
No, and that's
Makes
what
you feel
it's still
good.
a great show though, right?
Yeah,
So,
but like at no point in time was the audience being like, move it on, because it was
Right,
funny, it was
right.
entertaining, it was great. So it's like as long as you've got the chemistry and the banter, and like as long as the audience is having fun, it's like great. You know what we're doing? In 10 minutes, we're gonna do this final combat. I'm gonna hand wave 90% of what I've prepped. But if everyone leaves being like, that was great, I don't care. Like, I don't care what you thought of the narrative. If you leave having a good time and having a fun experience, and you think that we were entertaining, that's all I need. I don't need anything
cool.
else. But I feel the opposite, where it's like in a podcast, like if after 4 episodes we haven't done anything, it'd be like watching a TV show or a movie where it's like, okay, like let's do something. I have finite amount of time, and I don't want to waste it with no progression.
Yep.
right.
Yeah, podcasts
so I
are
think-
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about pacing on a podcast, whereas like with a live show, I think it's much more about energy and audience reciprocation.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to like some of the first season Critical Role, like the later episodes, like even those guys, and they're all voice actors and whatever, they've been playing for years. There's still episodes where they didn't get anything done. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they like stymied themselves for
it's
an hour and a half. Debating over decisions. Like, so even the most popular, or if you want to call them most popular or most well known TTRPG actual play, like they have some of the same problems that everybody does.
I think everybody does. Starts out and and they find, like, we fine tuned a lot. We used to walk all over. I'd call walking all over each other. We all talked over each other, not intentionally. It's just because
Better,
like
but we're not great.
we're a lot better, but we're a lot better.
Don't oversell us.
But it's
Shut
part of
up.
being excited and having fun. You know what I mean? I
You
talk
know-
over. I never shut the fuck up. That's hard for
See,
me.
You see, Matt and Nathan do editing. We don't, so we think we're great.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't
Tier?
edit
We're
either.
great.
It's all Dane.
I actually am great, so
Yeah, it's
some-
it's a much different thing of like playing at a table where you can all yell your jokes at once, and
Yeah.
But like when you're podcasting, it's the same thing. It's like you're doing a product for other people to listen to. So if it's not presented that way, I wouldn't want a single person to ever sit in and watch our home games, because one, they'd be bored to tears, and we would be put on lists.
Right. Well, right. Yeah. I brave on anyone who's like we talk about like things you can offer. Like there's a lot of folks that have like a Discord. I think you guys have a Discord, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they have one.
And so we have a Discord, but it is not public for that reason. It's like, we need
Yeah,
a
I mean,
little
like,
separation,
one of our friends was like, "You got to stop using my Wi-Fi to Google like how to dissolve a body, or like how to smuggle a gun across the border." It's like you got to stop it. Like you can't, or searching like what's the easiest soil to hide bury a body in and stuff like. It's just like, guys, you can't keep. It's like every Monday.
Yeah, like a bunch of guys get in his small
go
apartment.
to the
and they're
public
looking up
library
what
to
I'm
do
sure
that.
is not okay with the FBI.
Yeah,
we used to laugh about that. We would play till way too late in the morning, right? We'd play, and then we'd go to somewhere like a Denny's or something like that, right? That's open all night. And we would always laugh later, like, "Oh my gosh, what did people think in like the booth next to us when we're talking about? Oh man, it was so tough getting rid of those guards." And like, you're rehashing the game, and if
You're
you don't
just
have
like,
no idea
it was so funny when you slit that guy's throat, and they're like, "What?"
I chopped that guy in half, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
Like, whoa,
Yeah.
I've
whoa.
said a couple of phrases that I would never thought I would say because they make no sense out of context. Like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Sean, do you remember that time that you remember when you saved that blank from public execution?" Like,
Yeah, like I'm sure there's
sex
been so
offender?
many times where I've been in a coffee shop with Dane, just like chatting, like pre or post recording, and people are like, "Are they good? Are they okay?"
yeah.
So I got to give
hey, guys,
context.
we're wrapping up here we're wrapping up here in time wise. But I wanted to ask: is there anything else you want to talk about upcoming that we haven't
Okay.
covered?
This is Niall.
Yeah. Well, I guess not next Wednesday, but the coming Wednesday after that. There was a better way to say that. In 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was perfect. That was
Yeah,
perfect.
no,
Keep
nailed
going.
it.
It's
Yeah,
all right,
in
it's
2
all right.
weeks.
Come
we're-
In a
Wednesday.
fortnight, sir.
In a fortnight. Ooh, I
How
like
many
that.
stone do you weigh? Okay, go ahead.
In a fortnight, we are starting our next kind of like not as mini of an arc that as we've been doing recently, but it's going to be like a smallish season. But I'm going to be DMing it. So Dane has tricked me into sitting in the GM chair, and he's now
It's genie
free-
rules, baby. You're
Yeah,
stuck there forever.
He's
I'll
free to
prove it.
reign as a player and probably beat me into not railroading everybody. Yeah, so we recorded a few
Another
episodes of
beating.
that. Yeah. I probably need it.
What season? I'm not sorry. What system? What are you guys doing?
Starfinder.
Can you? Oh,
Oh,
so
same. Okay,
Starfinder.
it's homebrewed
Yeah,
still.
Outstanding.
Yes, it's all homebrewed. It's going to be a different system than Dane's. In
Okay.
terms of, like space system, not game system.
Ah,
So
All I ask
Starfinder
is
1E, and then it's going to be like think Office Space meets The Expanse.
oh, good lord, that's going to be interesting. That's a quite the juxtaposition right there of two different ideas.
I just hope that the poncho makes it.
You know what? I want the poncho in it, but we'll see.
I'll go
And
find
the last couple episodes, I'm like, I hope to God that the poncho comes
Saves
into
the
play
day.
again.
and I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure like one of the last moments is during doing something with the poncho. So
My favorite thing is like very early on, and I don't know if it's recorded or not, but he did buy boots that could walk, like you can walk on like walls as if they're ground, and fully forgot that he had them. And I don't want to be that guy who's like, "Oh, you should do this," so didn't say anything for like I think over a year, and I was just like, there were times I'm like, "You got them in your gear, man."
That's always funny when somebody forgets they have something near the end of the game, and you're like, "Oh my god, I got this in my inventory the whole time." Like, fuck.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right, well, that's that sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
Well,
And
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna-
be listening. So
Yeah. I'm gonna have to plug on there because I gotta stop listening to this. I always listen to my stuff to try and see how I can get better. Like, and I still haven't improved, so I'm not learning. Anyway, but anyway, we got a few minutes left. Nathan, is there anything you want to because Nathan never gets on, so I want to give him the opportunity. Oh, here we go. Tear, wear lipstick next time. All right.
So, yeah, so I kind of hinted at it earlier, but sometimes my work takes me to Canada, and last couple times I was trying to hook up with these guys, and it was just
Wait, whoa.
they were read that any way you want. But it finally, last time I went up there, it actually worked out timing wise for everybody, and I was able to get out there and play with Niall, Dane, and their significant others in a game of Orbital Blues, and that was a really good time. So thanks again for trusting this old stranger
Anytime,
in your
man.
home and
That was a
feeding me.
blast.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, you got to see how unhinged our home games get. Because I think that was that was the first or the second?
It was the
Second.
second one, yeah.
Yeah,
Which was probably the most unhinged one.
yeah.
So, but Nathan, were you shocked by anything?
No. It felt. I'm always weird because we don't. At least I don't play with a lot of other folks, strangers. So it was. I felt at home, and we got into some real shenanigans and some really made some really horrible decisions and.
Yeah, everyone.
Well,
I
you know,
think
it's a
everyone-
good session when you end up just like at one point. I think you guys just lost the plot and just started switching sides for zero reason. But you
It's
did-
literally the second anyone offered us an opportunity, we were like, yes.
That's the thing. It's like you're finally in the position of the thing you're building up to, and like I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, you should work for me. Just saying it to say it, expecting any minute now you're gonna kill the person you've been hired to kill, and you're like, okay. And I'm like, well, fuck.
That's Nathan. Welcome to Nathan.
Pretty sure Dane's significant other was done with like all of us because we didn't do anything she wanted to do.
She did run over one of the guys
yeah, that was
almost
great.
immediately, which
Yeah,
was
that was-
wonderful.
that was really awesome.
But you guys did take
We
out the
did keep
helicopter with the
we did
grenade
keep
and the
the
baseball
guy
bat,
that she
so-
liked. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
it was good. Anyway, so, but thanks for that. That was a great time. And are you guys going to PAX Unplugged?
I don't think so.
As of right now, no. But anything could change.
Anything
If
could
someone
change.
comes along and offers us trunks, yes. Yeah, if someone offers us an opportunity, we will probably say yes.
Yeah.
But,
So if anyone wants us on stage, just hit us up.
but yeah, we've done a lot of U.S. traveling, and the exchange rate is terrible for us.
Yeah. Unfortunately, time and money not
Yeah.
working in our favor. So as much as we'd love to be there, so far it is a no.
Tier and Matt are both going to PAX Unplugged.
At least,
so
right?
I might be going. I still got to work that out.
maybe
I know
Sean,
he's-
maybe Tony. There's a lot of maybes. I'm not. I'm going to be.
We're not going to have
on the
Nathan,
island.
so we're going to be flying solo.
Who's going to be in the
without
alley with you, Matt?
I don't know. We're gonna have to figure it out. You know,
I have to go.
That's what we like, right? We like our alley. These two unsuspecting guys just out enjoying themselves. And what
I've seen this
happens,
video
right?
before.
Who's this creepy guy, right?
Jeez, that is
Look at
weird,
that.
man.
Who is that?
Now that
guy?
I've seen that again, I'm a little
Really,
disturbed
really
by that.
creepy.
I would have shot you. I would have just shot you.
Creepy white guy in alley. So I will mention there. So if you, I'm
Do you
pretty
want me to
sure
go back
that
to the alley?
no. I'm pretty
No,
sure
no,
a
no.
lot of you. So Niall did, and Dane did, but I'm not sure the rest of my gang watched or listened to this because I added a bunch of sound effects to that interview.
Jesus Christ.
A lot
So
of
the-
gunshots. in
I
the-
watched some of the original.
I added gunshots in the background. I added police sirens at the beginning.
So you just made it like Baltimore. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I added their footsteps because you couldn't really hear their footsteps in the beginning, and also there's a car that kind of got
Vin
edited
Diesel.
out, and I added it back in, and I'm recording with one microphone, but the sound goes from left to right, so that should have been a sign. That,
See, you're too good at audio. that
gave
you
Courtney
us
a heart
audio
attack.
scrubs. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my
Well,
God.
Sorry, Courtney.
I watched it with my partner, and they were like, "Are those gunshots?" I was like, "It probably isn't." Like, I don't know, because I didn't know it was so well done. That I was like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
guess that happened in the background." I didn't pay attention because I was, too busy having the chats. So yeah,
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff to them to make them sound like they were far away in the background. And thank you for thinking those were real. That was
no, you did a good job. Too good of a job.
I love when
Yeah,
he tests
apparently I
his
almost
new
killed
sound-
somebody.
I love when he tests his new sounds out on us. Like, hey guys, There's this dolphin sound that I got to test out on you.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
So if you ever need a custom sound for your game, talk to that guy.
So
Okay.
Pink Mohawk used my dolphins having sex sound.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
Okay, and on that bombshell, I think we're gonna summarize the episode.
Take it away,
And
Sean.
I want to thank our guests, Niall and Dane from No Quest for Wicked podcast being on. It was a very good interview. You guys were very fun. Thank you for sharing all your
for having
insightful and amazing stories and all everything else. I want to thank Tyr and Nathan, especially Nathan, for joining us tonight. I want to thank you. And thank your significant other, Nathan, for allowing you to join us tonight. And I also want to thank them because
Oh,
they're,
she's not watching because you're dead.
she's super geek, And of course, Matt for his rather short PowerPoint tonight. Anyway, with that being said, thank you all and wish you the best. Reminder, we're not going to be on next week. Happy Halloween. Go get some candy. Don't get diabetes. Love. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, guys.